City Hall with the Burlington City Council, December 14th, 2020, 4:30 p.m., Thomas J. Smith Council Chambers. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Kathleen, roll call when you're ready, please.
Kreitzer.
Here.
Graham Murray.
Here.
Maupin.
Here.
Rinker.
Here.
Phillips.
Here. All right, the special meeting, let me find my piece of paper here. This special meeting number 4 is called for the purpose of going into a special meeting for the purpose of approving the appointment of a chief of police. It is hereby understood that the meeting, December 14, 2020, at 4:30 p.m., City Hall, Thomas J. Smith Council Chambers, 400 Washington Street, is a special meeting called by the majority of the members of the Burlington, Iowa City Council. Notice of said meeting was personally acknowledged by each member of the council, and notice was made by the city clerk on December 11th, 2020. Mr. Furneaux.
We need someone to introduce the resolution.
Oh, someone introduced the resolution, sorry.
Your Honor, I have a resolution approving the appointment of Chief of Police.
We need a second.
Second. Now, Jim.
All right, so we used a process with an outside consultant to go through the process of determining how to select a chief of police. One of the, primary few reasons to do it, just given the national context of what was going on that we've seen as a country over the last year, sort of an acceleration of some of the trends that have been there for longer than that. And given the fact that my position has transitioned to having him be able to come in and direct the process through here was pretty important. We used that search firm to advertise and go through the recruitment and gather people who were potentially interested. We had initially, based off of that, had 4 candidates that we were looking to bring in we had 5. It was 4 to bring into the process for doing a 2-day intensive interview process. One of them chose not to go through that process, but we did have 3 candidates who did, 2 external and 1 internal. For the internal process, or for the interview process over that couple of days, we had a couple of panels that did round-robin interviews on Friday, a community group, police personnel were allowed, and then the city department heads. Saturday morning, the council did their own interview of the 3 candidates and had the ability to get input on what happened from the 3 groups who had done interviews the day before. And at the end of that process, we came out of the council meeting on that Saturday morning with a recommendation to move forward with selection of Mark Denny. I think he did a pretty good job throughout the process. Obviously with the council in that process was considered fairly strong. He had obviously more than 1 candidate who is worthy of being considered for the position. At the end of the day, this is my selection by code, but the way we did this was much different than we've done it in the last couple of times. This was much more about what was doable and acceptable for the council, because this is given the context of where I am and things, it had to be something that was a council's decision for how to move forward. So, and based off of the interviews that we had, the direction from council to go forward with Mark, I'm bringing forward to you tonight a recommendation to approve the resolution of hiring Mark Denny as the next chief of police for the city of Burlington.
Okay.
Any other questions on that, or I think I would turn it over to you with any thoughts from you.
Okay. Council, have any questions? I'm going to open it up. Caller number 1. when you're ready. Caller number 1, Kenny. Okay, go ahead and speak away. Speak loudly because it's a little hard to hear you.
Okay, thank you, sir. What I'd like to do tonight is read a letter that's composed of officers and civil personnel from the Burlington Police Department. Members of the Burlington City Council and acting city manager for now. We are here today to express our support for acting Chief of Police Jeff Klein to be appointed as the next Chief of Police for the City of Burlington. Burlington police officers and civilian employees work very hard to earn your support, and we value your support and opinions very much. We were recently offered the opportunity to be part of one of the department's most important decisions, which was participating in the appointment of the next Chief of Police. Several patrol officers with varying years of experience given the chance to form an interview panel for the 3 candidates for the chief position. 2 of the candidates are from out of state, and the other candidate has served this department and community for 30 years. During the process, one candidate, Jeff Klein, stood out well above the others as the most obvious choice. Jeff has worked tirelessly for our department and our community to obtain the long-term goal of being Burlington's Chief of Police. He has dedicated his entire career to this community, and that dedication never wavers. Jeff raised his family here and was a patrol officer, a detective, a sergeant, a lieutenant in charge of a patrol shift, as well as a lieutenant in charge of the Criminal Investigation Division of the Southeast Iowa Narcotics Task Force. A major of operation is currently the acting Chief of Police. It is our final recommendation to appoint Jeff Klein as the next Chief of Police. We express this recommendation not only as the desire of the panel, but as the police department in its entirety. We are here today to support Jeff Klein and ask why he was passed over and denied the well-deserved and hard-earned opportunity to serve our department and community. According to Taylor Consultants, all 3 candidates were, quote-unquote, nearly identical on paper. That is correct, and why was the choice made to bring in a complete stranger to our department, community, and family when we already had a candidate in place that checked every box? The same consultants have advised us that we have strong support and confidence from our community, the very department that Jeff has been instrumental in developing over his tenure. It is without hesitation that the same department, including civilian employees, patrol officers, and detectives, that we believe Jeff Klein should have been offered the position. In addition to showing our support for Jeff Klein, we respectfully request to be provided an answer as to why he's not chosen. It is not our goal to discredit either of the other candidates, as they're both clearly qualified individuals. Rather, simply to have our questions answered and our collective voices to be heard. We understand whatever decision you make, we will continue to serve our community as we always have with pride and integrity. We ask you to please reconsider the vote and appoint Jeff Klein as the next Chief of Police. Respectfully submitted, officers and civilian personnel of the Burlington Police Department.
Kenny, you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. Council, do you have any questions for Kenny?
No.
Okay. Doesn't sound like we have any questions, Kenny. Thank you very much for your dedication and everybody's loyalty to Jeff Klein. We appreciate it, and your comments are noted.
We appreciate your taking time to share our concerns, and hopefully you can reconsider your vote. You're very well respected in our department.
All right. Thank you, sir. Caller number 2. Tim? Mr. Scott?
Yeah,
Go ahead, sir.
yeah. All right, thank you very much, Mayor and Council. I gotta say, Kenny and the officers put together a very good argument, and I support what they just said. Mine's more of a concern. It's concern on the process and not beginning to end, but the end. The action that you're taking tonight is rather unusual, and the hiring of a police chief is generally done by the city manager and not from the city council. And when I asked one city council member today who, if they supported this decision, and they said, well, the decision's been made. I said, who made the decision? They said that, she said the city council did. And I've got a concern with that because I can't find any public hearing where the city council decided to hire any individual at all. That's my second concern is that in the resolution, the second paragraph where it says, whereas on December 5th, 2020, Jim Furneaux, city manager, offered Mark Dennehy, et cetera. I was under the impression that the city manager had resigned and you had hired him back as a consultant and that we were without a city manager at this point. And I'm a little concerned on the purpose that this is easily an appropriate action, an appropriate way of writing this resolution.
Okay, are you finished? I'll have Jim's come to the podium. He's going to give you an answer.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, all right. There's a delay here, so sorry about that.
In regards to the role that I play, the resolution where you hired me to perform all the duties of a city manager, everything established in the city code, which includes this. I'm still filling that role as a contractor as opposed to as an employee, but it was written by the city attorney in order to have me still do these roles. That being said, even though the position of appointing a chief of police is mine by code, given the circumstances, Tim, you're correct that long-term, this isn't my role. Long-term, the ones who have to live with this decision is the city council, and that is why we did a little bit different process. The process that the council used was to go through meetings that were held. We started a public meeting on the Saturday that the interviews were done and went into closed session to review the competencies for personnel matters at the request of the people being considered. We also had, as we summed up that meeting, a closed session to discuss the terms of a potential offer to be given to someone. That was there's nothing binding in that. However, to go back on that, the council understood is a hard thing to do once you've gone out and offered based off of what you're willing to do. We were authorized to negotiate to a certain amount, but again, the final decision can't be made that way. The final decision is here tonight, where the offer of employment would be approved. So this is that formal process. This is different than we've done for the last couple of times. It does, but it reflects the reality that my position, even though I do fill that role as city manager, is different than what it typically would be.
Correct. Does that answer your question, Tim?
Honestly, Mayor, I'm not sure. I picked up about what half what he said. I'm really disappointed in this process. I know the excuse is COVID. I wish there was a way to figure out a way to have important public meetings like this actually public. But I mean, I can't change that. You can't change that tonight. So I guess all I can do is express frustration at this point.
I definitely understand your frustration. We've tried a couple of different things, and so thank you for that, Tim. Did you have anything else, sir? Council, do you have any questions for? Okay, Council, do you have any questions for Mr. Scott? No. All right. Thank you, Tim. Okay, is there any further discussion? Council?
We have one more caller.
Oh, one more caller? I thought that was Zach James. He's calling.
We had a fourth.
Oh, we had a fourth. Okay. Caller number 4, if you can hear my voice, would you please identify yourself with your name and address? Caller number 4. If you can hear me, you're calling number 4. Caller number 4, if you can hear me, would you please identify yourself? I don't know. Oh, hello? Can you hear me?
Sorry, I don't know how is it. Can you hear me?
I can barely hear you. You'll have to speak up. Your name and address, please? I can't hear you. Could you give us your name and address, please?
This is Aya from Northeast Iowa, and I'm planning commissioner.
Oh, okay, all right. We'll be back to you in just, okay, we'll be back to you in just a minute. Okay? Any other callers? All right. So we need a vote. Kathleen?
Kreitzer,
Yes.
Graham Murray. Aye. Mopin,
Yes.
Rinker,
No.
Phillips.
Aye. Motion passed. Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Kathleen, when you're ready.
Kreitzer,